Hey, we're back again with our fourth episode of Melanated Margins. Today we're going to be covering our one of our book club reads, and it is Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. Super excited about this book. We thought it was super cute. We're going to give y'all a little rundown of it just so that you know what it's about. That way, if you want to read it before you listen to the rest of this episode or watch the rest of this episode, you can do that. So Danielle Allen wrote a really good book about a character named Aaliyah, and she's about to turn 30. She's single and clearly ready to mingle. She's trying to meet a man before she turns 30 in a few months. And this book just kind of details some of the adventurous dates she goes on, or interesting dates, I should say. But she also decides to start going on dates at a Pacific bar, like really close to her house, and meets the bartender. They kind of come up with a plan to for her to meet there for all of her dates, and he's gonna kind of scope out these guys to see if they are like legit or not. And he wears a wedding band every time she comes in, so she's overheard him say that he's married, and she is just like, he's off limits, but he's really cool, super chill. Ahmad is like that guy, and he's handsome, obviously. But she starts to kind of think she's catching feelings for this guy, and so trying to navigate the waters of being attracted to this like married man bartender guy who's supposed to be like her friend and kind of like watching her back while she's on these dates, and trying to find a man before she turns 30, because her family's put in like some ridiculous pressure on her to like get married, have kids, and kind of follow in the same footsteps of her sister. So we're gonna jump in. Wamba, where do you want to get started today?
Girl, I guess we can start right at the beginning.
Okay.
How does the book start? I mean, we can start right at the beginning where like
The book starts in a very interesting situation. She's at her ex-boyfriend's house.
oh right, the Matthew guy. Okay. Well,
Having a
it
little
starts
rendezvous.
over there. Matthew, I guess, wants her back, and she's just like, "No, we're done. I know what I want, and you're not it." And so we kind of start from there, and then I think she calls Nina, one of our best friends, afterwards. Um, lamenting about what just happened and how she needs someone. I think, is it Nina who suggests she tries online dating?
Yeah.
Okay, so Nina suggesting she tries online dating, and also you should know she has another best friend, Jasmine, who's currently away for the summer, helping her aunt who's sick. But those like are her best friends, and I think she goes to work the next day, and her coworker, who's like her work BFF, says that she has a guy she can go on a date with. And I think at first she said no. And then after the whole debacle of going to her parents' house on the weekend, oh, I know, we're skipping. She went home on the weekend and then Uncle Al.
Girl, Uncle Al was unhinged. This man needed to be set down, okay?
Uncle Al, I was just like, you know what? I know that with like elders in my family, we cannot be disrespectful no matter how much you want to be disrespectful. Uncle Al was that person where you're just like, and she was trying. She was trying to not be disrespectful with him. And he just like, the boundaries, because like, how are you gonna hold over a boat that he had given her sister over her head because she doesn't have a man or isn't married or has kids? I'd be like, keep your boat, I don't want it.
Right.
And also like,
I'll buy my own boat.
her mother trying to matchmake with the best of intentions, and then also her parents.
Oh, that was so awkward, Mama. I'm sorry if my parents ever surprised me with a random guy at a party, like a family party or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, we meet this guy," and then just kind of like her mom just like walks away with his mom, like, "Oh, let's give him some time alone." No, immediately no. Sir, I'm sorry, I don't mean to waste your time, unless he is like for real fine. But like, he wasn't giving fine vibes. He was not giving like swaggy, and I forgot, like he had on khakis or something weird. Like,
I think
I don't know.
so, yeah.
Yeah. It was a no for me. But she handled it with so much grace and was
And
super
also he
polite about
received it
it.
with so much grace because he was
Yeah.
like, I know our parents, but also the mom inviting him to our birthday with his mama without telling her. Just like, is this your
Right.
And I get that the mom is like, oh, my best friend's son and my daughter getting married, fun, but
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't
And then,
feeling
honestly, I actually thought that he was going to end up being the guy. Like later on, I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna come back on her like dating apps. They're gonna like go on a date, and they're actually gonna like he's gonna be our
the guy.
like monkey wrench, like something to kind of shake up the story a little bit later on down the lines. But we only see him again at the birthday party when we see somebody else.
Yeah. But also the fact like they were talking about her, like having all these conversations. And I know how irritating it can
Yeah.
be. Everybody's so concerned about like there's so many things you can't be concerned about me but my love life because you just think I'm just so miserable out here being by
Yeah.
myself that you all need to have a discussion. But also the constant comparison to her sister, which at this
Yeah.
point we don't know what happened. We knew that her sister whatever happened was tragic, but we didn't know exactly how her sister had passed away at this point. But we knew like it must have been
Yeah.
such because everybody
Yeah.
in their own way, her parents, including herself, were still like dealing with the grief from it.
Yeah.
But I like that her grandma, even though like she's worried, but still has her back, especially with her son because not only that, because Uncle Al also constantly commented on her weight, which is so weird. Like,
Why are you so concerned, sir?
why are you so pressed? And also doing it in that way where like I'm doing it because I care about you. Like,
No.
no, 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 no. Do not come at me like that. But anyway,
What's up with
we're
these
just
sus uncles? We've had sus uncles in two books back to back. Like, I don't get it. Because Uncle Marcel from Fast, and then now Uncle Al from this book.
oh yeah,
I
this
don't
one
know.
is just like too much. I mean, on her body, like image,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, and all the stuff like, and from the way that Danielle Allen described Aaliyah, she's gorgeous,
Right.
and I'm just like, what
Right.
is his problem? And
She's
clearly,
like
like
super
men, and
cute.
also like men are attracted to her because when she walks into a room, like she turns heads,
She's
and I'm
getting
just
head turns. Yeah, she's
like
turning
so, like
heads
I'm
everywhere
just
she
like
goes.
what is wrong with this man? Like harping on it. And anyway, we can jump ahead, but I like how grandma acknowledged like I should have nipped this in the bud when they were younger because apparently sometimes he had the same energy for his sister. I think maybe towards the end grandma commented on that when they were like
Yeah.
kids or something like that. But anyway, let's get into the nitty gritty of the story. She starts going on these dates. I think the first
Mm-hmm.
one is with the guy her coworker set her up with on the date, and she goes to the bar. And at first, like she doesn't really like Ahmad because he's just like, I guess he's playing with her, but also like teasing her, and she doesn't kind of like it, and she's like, "What's wrong with him?" But then the worst
Mm-hmm.
thing happens is that he doesn't show up the
A whole
date.
no show.
And Ahmad is obviously like poking fun at the fact that he hasn't shown up, and she's just like, I'm leaving. But that's when their friendship kind of starts, but she still doesn't know
Yeah.
like what's his deal. Is it when he says like if you come back next week, like I'll look out for you, but she was determined not
Yeah.
because she was embarrassed, she was determined not to come back.
Yeah.
So okay, so the story goes from there and then goes on a date. Okay, this is the problem that I had is that all the men she found on the dates were such creeps. Like they
I
looked,
know. Like nobody was normal.
they were like the. I just wanted one of them to not have a problem and like no kind of problem, so that
Yeah.
for the story going on in the background, we would just be like give someone a run for his money because the first guy was he married? The one who the next week that she showed up for the date, he turned out to be married, right?
Girl, yes. And then the wife shows up at the
I
bar.
would have just been like sliding down my chair, get me out of this situation. I'm gonna go stand
Literally.
over there because the whole bar is watching this spectacle.
Girl, I'd be like, mm-mm.
And also
You can have
Amanda's
this
looking
man
at
if I
her
don't want
like,
him. I promise you I don't.
and I think she was going like, does he think I this is what I do, like married men?
Right.
And oh my goodness, thank goodness, like he stepped in, right? Because
Yeah.
this man
I,
was trying to be like, I
yeah.
don't know her, trying to all this stuff. And did he also have like, was he fetishizing her as well?
Oh, I think he was. Yeah, this was the guy who was like saying that he knew that she could cook and like saying like all these like super weird things. It's just like, dude.
No, and you
And then
have a
she
whole
picks up
wife
on it, which is like, what are you talking about? Like, how are you making these assumptions?
about me, and you have a whole wife at home.
Right.
I'm sorry, if I was Aaliyah, I would have tapped there. Like this app,
Yeah.
no, we're not doing this. I'm out. And then where did we go from there? What made her come back? Because I feel like she tapped out.
She did.
Did her friends like convince her to give it another try?
Yeah, I think so. I
Ooh.
think it had to have been Nina.
But also Ahmad said, "Come out with me and my friends, so I show you what like good guys look like."
Oh yes. Yes. She gets invited to go like hang out with him and his friends. And girl.
Girl, I was so confused.
All
I
these
was
men
like,
are like handsome for one.
all his friends are answer, of course, the whole friend group. But I was so confused because I was like, listen, if he has a wife at home and I'm said wife, am I okay with my man going
Yeah.
to go hang out with
Oh
his?
heck no.
But also,
It's a
you're
no.
out with your guys. You invite your new girlfriend, but um, like at the same time, you're like, wait, did this happen before the India Davis concert? I'm confused. Did she first go to the India Davis
Oh.
concert with Nina, and then she saw the woman he was with and assumed that was the wife? Or first she go out with him and his friends? Which one happened first? It must have been no. She might have gone out with him and his friends because she was still like
I
worrying in her head, like he's dancing up on me. He has a wife, and I was so very confused because I'm just like, you have a wife. Is this okay?
Oh, it most definitely was not. And I was like, first of all, if
Right?
he's inviting her, why didn't he also invite his wife? Like, oh, my wife will be there, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, sir.
Okay,
But
like he
also,
never.
I think at that point, I was also thinking that he wasn't actually married. Like, that was like
Mhm.
what was in like the back of my mind. Like, he's not actually married. Like, I couldn't explain like why at that point.
But something was
But yeah,
off.
yeah, for sure. And then
I
like
because
his friends were like picking up on this chemistry they were had, like on their chemistry together because like they're connected, they're laughing, they've hung out with each other like quite a bit, because she's going there every Friday talking to him at the bar before her dates and then sometimes after her dates because they're so tragic. um,
and also how the friends were kind of like, when his friend was like flirting with her, but also how he was like hands off. Like,
yeah,
if you have a wife,
right.
why are you getting like she's off limits? He told them she was off limits. And I was just like, but
Why,
that's the thing
sir?
is like I know he never explicitly told her he had a wife. She overheard him when like other girls were at the bar
Yeah,
talking to him and he wore that band. But I was like, and then
yeah,
I started to think to myself as the story went on, I was like, maybe I was starting to think as like maybe what was in my head, I was thinking maybe he was married, but maybe his wife passed away. He just still wears the ring because I was still trying to rationalize and figure out what was going on. I was like, there has to be a logical explanation because there can't be any other male main character. It's him at this point. But also, if we're saying he's married, like we have to get around this somehow because I don't think, from what we know of Ahmad, I don't think he would be the guy to like cheat on his wife. And I don't, and Leah wouldn't
yeah,
also be
yeah.
down for it.
He
So
seems like a genuinely good guy.
I was like, something is off here. And then they went to that India Davis concert with Nina,
Hmm.
and then she saw him with that woman. We still don't know who the woman is at this point, and she was like, "That must be his wife." But I'm just like, even
Yeah,
the way he acted with her wouldn't have been like wife material because he left her, and it's raining,
yeah.
and came to them to talk to them, and I'm like, if that was your wife, I don't think you would leave her there.
You
in
most
the
definitely
rain
would not have.
by herself
Yeah.
and then come and talk to them. Or you would bring her over and be like, this is my wife, this is my friend
Right.
Aaliyah, or something like that. So I was just like, there has to be more to this story. Something is just not adding up here. He cannot be
Yeah.
married. Because also, I don't think his wife would be okay. We'll be like, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I didn't think one. I initially thought that he. I was like, either his wife is dead and he just doesn't, hasn't moved on yet, or he's actually married to someone and she's like in a coma. I think Verity kind of like got his mind a little bit. But I was like, maybe she's in a coma and he's like, oh, I'm technically married, but she's been in this coma for like 10 years and
But like, my wife is in a go.
right. But yeah,
Oh
those
well.
were my two options. I was just like, I don't know. I was like, but something's weird here. As far as like the India Davis concert, like he was acting like super weird. Like you said, like his actions, like leaving the lady who she assumed was his wife, just like kind of off to the side and like running to talk to them. And then also he was still very flirty even in that moment. And Nina picks up on it. It was just like, this the bartender friend dude, like,
She picked up on their
like he's
chemistry.
feeling you, girl. Go ahead.
Yeah, Nina picked up on their chemistry. And that's why she was just
Yeah.
like, this man is like really good looking.
Yeah.
Are you sure he's married? Are you sure it's his wife? And like, I like Nina. Nina is that friend.
Yeah.
It's just like, we're gonna do this. But how does she find out they live in the same building?
Oh my gosh.
Because he
I
doesn't know she lives there. Or I'm trying to remember.
I think she tells him, or like they tell each other.
No, because he doesn't know yet.
No.
Remember, she knows he lives in the building because he
Oh
doesn't know.
yes,
Because
because
remember when she
she asked the
was
doorman.
kind of like, yeah. So was it? I think he invited her to come to the restaurant like on another day, or maybe I don't to talk or something, to strategize. Because remember, they had like he ordered food and said this was good here, and they sat at the booth
Mm-hmm.
before he had someone called, and he could hear like it was a woman on the, and he had to leave, and that's why it
Yeah.
was like it must be his wife. But I think that's when she found out where he lives. Maybe I'm making it up because he said he has to go across the street. I cannot remember.
I can't remember. I know for sure his sister had something to do with. Did his
The
sister kill her?
sister, how everything broke down. I mean, not broke
Oh
down. How we
yeah.
found out what was going on because Asia is her name.
Girl,
Asia.
how do you remember all these characters' names? I've read so many books since then. I'm like, I don't don't remember all the side characters'
I think
names.
it's because there were so many A names. Her sister was Ania, I think. Then she's Aaliyah, Ahmad's Asia. So I was like, the A's were just like, I maybe that's how I remember it. It was just like
Girl.
the A's going on. But remember, I think one of our dates went wrong because they had such good banter and with each
Mm-hmm.
other. And one of our dates, I think I can't remember which date this was, went. I guess it ended. I don't know if it went wrong at this point, but Asia was leaving work at the same time and followed her, and he was like, I haven't seen my brother like this in a long time, and he stopped like wearing the ring so often when he's out. And she's totally confused and doesn't know what he's talking about because
Yeah.
she replied just like in a way which made Asia think he had told her um what happened, but it's just what she thought she knew. And then Asia like
Mm-hmm.
spills what happened is that he lost his fiance. We like he used to be. Like she didn't go into details because she still doesn't know the whole story, but like she knows like he wears that wedding ring mostly like bartending to make sure that like the women don't hit on him, but also he had been wearing that since his fiance passed away. And so she's like, Asia's like, please don't tell him I told you this. I thought you knew. And she's just like, I just thought like there's something more between you two because I haven't seen him like this with anyone else in the years
Yeah.
since. And that's when I think, is that when she now like, I think she's mad at him for having
Yeah,
had
she is.
said
Yeah.
anything. But is it the next day where she looks up through his apartment where he lives, which also the lady shouldn't have given the
No,
information.
most definitely. Like, that's so creepy. I've been like, what kind of lady? Like, wasn't it like the apartment's manager or like somebody in the leasing office or something like that? And she's just like, oh
Because
yeah, he's in this floor. She was like,
because
oh,
all
he
she
left
said
his
she has
umbrella
a
or something like
package.
that. Like,
Because all she
oh,
said she
package.
has a package for his name, and the woman gave her his apartment number. Because I feel like they would
This
have
would have
just
been
been
like,
like
no.
next to the office, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and like we'll figure it out. I don't know what she did, and she shows up to his door. I think in her head she was like, "This is a good plan," and then when she showed up, she
Right.
realized
I can
how
just see.
crazy it looked to just show up on his door, and he's like, "I didn't have your
What are you
number, so
doing?
hey, I'm at your door."
Right. Did she actually have his umbrella? Like,
She had
what
his
did she
umbrella
have?
from that night. That's why I'm just like, you
Okay.
came and gave an umbrella, and that's what's her thing, like bringing back the
Yeah.
umbrella was her.
Girl.
Wait, bringing back, but then something else. Wait, I think we're skipping all of the parts, but I don't know. But I know that she was upset with him. He followed her or whatever. But she brought back the umbrella, right? And that's when
Mm-hmm.
they got into it, and he told her everything, right?
Yeah. Cause she's like snoop, like trying to discreetly snoop around his apartment because like she walks in, he's only wearing like gray sweatpants and like no shirt, and so he like goes to change or something, and she's like snooping around. She doesn't see any, like she sees pictures of the fiance, and what did what does she tell him? They get into some type of argument. Like he
Okay,
gets,
and she tries to leave and he stops her, but I don't know
yeah,
what the disagreement was, and he stops her, and then he was like, sit down, I'll tell you everything.
yeah,
And then we find out what happened, like they were
yeah,
engaged, and
mm-hmm,
he went to pick her up after a night with her friends, and they got hit. Were they hit by a
yeah.
drunk driver, or were they just hit by someone who ran a red light or stoplight?
I, girl, I don't remember. But I know for sure they were like T-boned, like on her side, and she passed. So,
And he's like, he's been feeling guilty about it too all these years,
mm-hmm.
because he was like, we had an argument that night, and she went out with her friends, and then she called me in the middle of the night, and I was so annoyed that I had to go pick her up because he had like a presentation at work or something like that.
Yeah,
And he's been carrying that guilt, and why he like wears like the ring. And then we also find out the woman that he's always with, or like who came to the bar she thought was the wife, who was at the India Davis concert, was her sister, like his
yeah,
late fiance's sister, and they still like keep in touch. And now everything is like adding up, but he's like, I'm not ready to date yet. That was his thing, right? And but they do go to lunch that day, or brunch.
yeah, yeah. They go to brunch. Oh my gosh, they like walk down the street. Everybody thinks they're so cute, and we're like gushing because they're like actually spending time together. There's like this like effortless conversation with them, like outside of the bar, outside of like conversations, like topics related to dating and things like that. Like they're just like totally vibing at this point, and it is
Mm-hmm.
so stinking cute,
And I
so
also like the
cute.
fact that he remembers everything she says, because they go to pick up her. She gets a text that her birthday dress is ready, and she
Yes.
talks about how like that's her favorite color, and he keeps it in his head because that's important for later. What happens later? But
Mm-hmm.
you know, like they
Yeah.
just have a good time. Go home. He's still like, and the thing that's so crazy is he's very much still like whatever, just want to be friends or whatever the case is. But then like when they go home, like the intense chemistry that they have at her doorstep, and I'm just like, this
Mm-hmm.
is confusing. Like, what are you doing? But what's the
Right.
thing that happens that makes her upset with him? Like before, no, maybe I'm jumping ahead. Anyway, what I'm trying to think. She is it Lennox or Tyrone? I can't remember which guy it is that she is trying to go on a date with, and then Asia tells her he was. in an Uber that got like hit, and he had to go to the
Mm-hmm.
hospital, and homegirl cancels a date at a
Yeah, she
very
cancels her second date. And she was like
nice
super
restaurant.
excited about this guy. Like he was supposed to be taking her to like some really nice restaurant, like for their second date, like kind of upscale, like this restaurant she's been wanting to go to. And she completely bails. Like she's already dressed, makeup is done, hair is done. She's like ready to go. She hops in her
That's
car,
tunnel vision.
drives, literally drives to get her man girl.
Just
Goes to the
like he's
hospital.
alone, he must be like scared, knowing like what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just in the hospital, like I'm looking for, and also I'm looking for this person. She finds him, and the doctors think like it must be the wife or somebody.
Yeah, automatically make the
But it's just
assumption.
like, what are you
Mm-hmm.
doing here? It's like, Asia told me you were by yourself and I came. And then she's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have come. This was like a little bit too much. And
No, it wasn't.
go ahead.
But um also like the doctor thinks that it's like that he's this, I think he actually like says like, oh, you and your wife, like make sure your wife gets you home, or like actually refers to her, not just like a thinking assumption, but like verbalizes this. And they don't say anything, they don't correct him, which I thought was like, okay. No one's making any corrections. But anyways, like she drives him home, and because like he doesn't drive, like he hasn't driven since the
Doesn't
car
work.
accident with
Yeah.
his fiance, which is like really important to note, especially for later. But I don't know, like do they get upset, like they get into like some type of like disagreement or something during that point?
Yeah, at the door. And we can like even look this up in the book because it's important because she drives it home and she's very like conscious of the fact that he's trusting her with him driving her because I think at
Yeah,
this point maybe Asia is the one who usually like if he's not in an Uber. He's
yeah,
like he had to take some painkillers that they'd given him, right? Um,
yeah.
and then something happens at the door that makes them not see each other. Hold on, I need to look this up. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay, we went to the ER car accident. Okay, I've reached there. It's around 2:32. Uh, um, and she also finally tells him about like the trauma she had from losing her sister, like shares that with him while
Mm-hmm.
they're riding in the car. And also like how her sister she got like she met someone, she got married, she was pregnant, and she had a brain aneurysm. Is that what oh no, it was a heart something
Yeah, something with her heart.
with her heart. But she tells him about that. Okay, we reached almost there. I think it was like, oh, Lennox I think texts her or calls her when they get to his apartment.
Okay. Because don't they almost kiss? Do they almost kiss at that point?
Okay, so let me read this. It says there, right? She's like, I appreciate you showing up to check on me. You blew off going to Cloverleaf to make sure I was good. You really didn't have to do that. He wrapped his beard and a slow smile spread across his lips. But I'm glad you did. The knot in my stomach grew. I was just doing what any friend would do. I replied breathily. His eyes held mine. Any friend wouldn't do that. He reached out and touched my hand. And I appreciate that you did. The heat from his fingertips spread all over my body. My back flattened against the door as I tried to create space between us. You're welcome, I murmured as we stared at each other. The apartment was so quiet. If a pin dropped in the back bedroom, it would have sounded like drums. So when my phone started vibrating, it felt like cymbals crashing, breaking up whatever was going on. I tore my eyes away from his and checked my phone as it continued to vibrate in my bag. It's Lennox, I told him. I should go. Oh, yeah, okay. He reached around me to get the door. Thank you again. You're welcome, Ahmad. Anytime, I whispered before putting the phone to my ear and answering the call. Hey, Lennox. It was
Yeah.
Lennox. Don Humboldt.
The guy who she like bailed out on for this date, that she's scheduled.
Yeah, and then what happens next is that she goes on a makeup date with him, but Ahmad is at the back of our mind. But then we find what's wrong with Lennox because Lennox can't stop talking about himself.
Literally, incessantly, like, dude. But
And
it's
that
weird because like she doesn't notice it the first date,
until they're
or
already
even
back.
like when they talk on the phone. Yeah, everything comes back to him. Like he never shows any interest, or even when she mentions things to him, like important things, like her birthday coming up, he has forgotten all of this stuff, or like has made other plans, or is asking her on a. I think he asked her on a date on her birthday or something like that. Oh, like, do you want to go out? And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, I had my party that day. Like I told you. He's like
And then
completely
the
oblivious.
car ride home from that day, she realizes that this is not gonna happen. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like, and at this point, the birthday was 3 days away. But there was also some
Yeah.
guy, like, I think she had started texting on the Tenderfish app,
Yeah.
and it was like one
Tenderfish.
last shot with him.
Yeah.
I think he's the one who was Tyrone, and goes on a date with him and doesn't sit at the bar this time. Oh, wait a
Yeah.
minute. But something happens before. Doesn't isn't she, I think she's mad. Ahmad sent her a card, right? And
Yeah, he
she
does.
was avoiding him. She had been avoiding
Mm-hmm.
him, and then like they got on the same elevator to work. She almost ran out of there. He followed her, and she was like, "I have to go to work." And he's like, "Are you avoiding me?" And she's like, "No." And then she has
She
to pay,
totally was.
and then goes to the restaurant, and they sit at the booth with Tyrone, and that's the date where
Girl. So Tyrone is like this like extra suave like dude. Like he comes in, like he has flowers for her. He has been like talking right in the app. Like I'm like, okay. But I feel like we kind of met this guy a little too late in the game. Like he comes like too close to the end of the story. I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna be
but
our
something
guy.
was
Like there
off
wasn't
with
really
Tyrone
any.
too. Like I don't know if it's Ahmad's in his like jealousy, but Ahmad was like I don't know if he was flirting with girls before she got there, but what was off
I
with
think he was. Didn't he
okay
say that he was flirting with what's
Asia?
her? Yeah,
Asia.
with Asia before
Yeah, he
before
was
she
trying
got there.
to. Yeah. And so like he had
Yeah.
flowers, but they sit at the booth, whatever, and he keeps on staring their way. But then
And he is like has such a bad attitude. Like, like that angry, like angry, like waiter, waitress, a person, like, you're like, what is wrong with you? I haven't
I
done
think he
anything to you.
brought
I've
them
never met
that
you,
drinks.
dude.
I don't even think he was their waiter, but I think he brought them that drinks, and he's just like rude.
Right.
I'm just like,
Oh
Mr.
my
Sir, we want a
goodness.
relationship. Like, what do you
Yeah.
want out? And then she excuses herself because she's not concentrating on this date. Go and they have great conversation. Tries to go to the bathroom. Girl.
I think she's like frustrated, like wants to get away from them, like wants to get away for them, like because once she realizes she's like in her head so much about like why Ahmad is acting the way he is, goes to the restroom, runs into Ahmad. Well, she doesn't run into Ahmad. Ahmad like sees her going back there. It was like, no, we finna have a conversation. Pulls her into the office to have said conversation about like why she's with this lame dude who's like this player type. And she's just like, why do you care? Like, you don't have to have a say in everybody that I date. And sparks fly, okay? A fire is ignited from all the heat both of these people are carrying, and they get it on and popping right there in the restaurant's office.
Her date is waiting. Just talk like 20 minutes. Then Asia comes to the door looking for Ahmad. And then when
Yes.
they open the door, Asia's like, oh, oh,
Uh-huh.
oh, I knew it. She was like, I knew it. And then like Aaliyah just like rushes out, tails a date. I gotta go. The Darren's like, what's happening? And like, that's no communication with him. Shuts him out. And
Yeah.
she's like, I need to get ready for my birthday. And I like the fact like from there, she knows like I don't have a date for my birthday. On her
Mm-hmm.
birthday, I think her actual birthday, she has brunch with her parents, right? That morning.
Yes.
And I like that she finds
Mm-hmm.
tells them how she's been feeling since her sister passed away and all the pressure they've put on her, and like just gets it all out how she's feeling. And I know her parents like, we're so sorry it made you feel this way, or like we made you feel like you needed to be a replacement for your sister. That's
Mm-hmm.
not the case. And they also like cry a little bit about it, like her
Yeah.
parents acknowledge like that pain, which is so sweet. And the way her father like
I know.
I really like
That
that
was
moment.
such a cute moment. And I'm like, like it's really important for like adult children to have those like tough conversations with your parents. I was really excited that Danielle like kind of threw that into the mix, because I'm just like, that conversation most definitely needed to be had, because
Mhm.
like I'm still your daughter, but I am not the daughter that passed. Like you don't have to constantly compare me to her, or like think that I should be like meeting the same life goals that she met at this, like meeting the same benchmarks at the same time. Like it needed to be had, and I was so happy with how they responded. They responded with so much like love
Yeah.
and grace, and yeah,
And also how she
was
felt the
totally
need to
aboard.
lie that she had a boyfriend, because one thing she had
Right.
lied to her day was that she had a boyfriend, so they were thinking she was showing up with one, and she was like, I shouldn't have to conjure up a boyfriend that doesn't exist because I'm getting like
Mm-hmm.
a child and like with all of these things. But I'm glad like they had that conversation. She went and got her hair and nails done with her mom, and then like went to the no, I think she first goes to and invite Uncle Al to the party on our way to the lake house.
Literally rolls by his house and was like, actually, sir, don't come. Lose your ticket. Burn it up. Like, you're not coming. Because the way he presents to her throughout this book is just like so shady. You're not coming to celebrate me and my 30th birthday party with all of your shade. No, sir. You sit at home and you stew in that.
I was so proud of her. I was like, yes. And
I
then
know.
Grandma decides not to come to make sure Uncle Al stays away.
I know. Because
It's
he
like
needs a babysitter.
he needs to babysit her. I love that she gets there and she's just like, it's all about me, puts on her dress and
Mm-hmm.
she's like, I'm gonna have the time of my life, takes pictures with her friends. Marcus showed up. He tries to talk to her, but she's really not checking for him. And she's like, we'll talk later. Um
Yeah.
and like she's just having fun. Her parents like dip out after the dinner. They're like, we'll let you young folks get into it. And then she goes and does a little outfit change into her emerald dress. And then what happens?
Girl, she like like she had arranged to have like this cutie pie little dance with this guy that she was supposed to bring to this party. So like whatever boyfriend she found on this dating journey was gonna have like this cute little dance with her. So
And
like she tells
the DJ
the
didn't
DJ
get
like, go ahead and play the song. She's gonna go ahead and like do this dance. So she starts like
remember
dancing.
the DJ didn't get the memo because her friends tried to stop it. So Nina
Oh
and Jack
yeah.
just jumped in like, we're gonna dance with our friend because DJ when is not getting our signals to cut it. But then Ahmad
In
showed
walks beautiful Ahmad
in a
in this like
matching suit to
like
her
literally like the same
dress,
emerald
like a
green. He is like a whole
I
vision. Like walks in seamlessly, doesn't say anything, doesn't like do anything, just like literally steps in, starts dancing with her, and it is like everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, who is this guy?" And she's just like swooning in surprise. She's like, "One, how did you get here? How did you know it was gonna be here?" Like she's like so many questions are like running through her mind
then he's
because
like,
our
I
guy is
drove.
here.
And I was like, Ahmad got in a car for her. And he
Girl,
looked,
like you haven't driven your car in what, like somewhere between like 2 and 5 years. It's been like a nice chunk of time.
it's been a nice chunk of time. The fact that he drove a car with all his fear, like that meant so much. And all like the trauma he's been with, like that was a big step. And the fact that he didn't even know where this party was. He went to several lake houses. He just knew the vicinity.
Door to door.
Or he got to this one. And then she was like, I think she asked him, like, why did you do that? He's like, you shown up for me so much and you showed up for me. I had to show up for you. And I was just
Yeah.
like, but anyway, they needed to like chat and talk and figure it out. But I knew that as soon as she ran into her cousin when they walked back into the house, the whole family was about to know what's going on. Because
Yeah.
like, where have you been hiding him?
Right. And it just
And
like
like
happens to be like the loud cousin, like the one who can't keep a secret. Like
the
it just happened to
text
be that
message,
cousin.
the family text chain is activated. Everybody is about to find out. I'm sure. I think they
Yes.
took pictures while they were dancing. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it was activated. And also, Ahmad, like, I mean, I don't hate, like, he's just sneaky because when they're in the room, he's asking, like, tell me what you want. And I'm like, Ahmad, stop asking this girl what she wants. You tell her what you want.
Oh my gosh. That
Because
was
he's like, tell me what you want. Like, it's obvious. I think he just wanted to hear it.
right.
But she also needed that
Yeah.
assurance because she didn't also, like, really know, like, are you in it with, like, do you want to be with me?
Yeah.
And so, like, they go missing from the party for, like, a little bit.
A little chunk of time. Like she sweats out her hair. Her hair is no longer like silk pressed. It is like nothing pressed. It is a cute little fro again. So she comes back like rocking her natural hair. She puts a dress back on and they partied the night away. And the
Yeah.
family's like still taking pictures of them like hanging out. Like at one point they're like sitting on the bench, like just being cute. And people are snapping pictures and sending it, posting it, all the things.
I
And
I
her
think
parents
like
find out.
as the next morning, like they go looking for food and they're talking, and he's like, I have a birthday like surprise for you. Like, what are you doing today? And she's like, I have to go to my parents, and then I'm free afterwards. And he was like, okay, fine,
Mm-hmm.
meet me at the thing afterwards. But also, um, how like I like the one thing that at this point we know, like as I was reading the pages where a few of this is ending, and I was like, I knew this was like going to have to be end game, but I really didn't want the story to end. I was like, I feel like we
Yeah.
need more them. And I was like,
Yeah.
I know we're not gonna get it because this book is almost done. Like I can see how many pages I have left. But that was just the thing. I was like, I need more of this like relationship to see where what's happening. But at this point, like after they leave the lake house, like their checkout time, I mean, at this point, we know they're together and he
Yeah.
wants to do something for her birthday. She goes home, and I like that. And I think that's when the grandma had that conversation. She was like, I'm sorry that I never nipped this in the bud with Uncle Al.
Mm-hmm.
And Uncle Al apologizes, right?
Yeah, he does.
Before she leaves, like she hangs out with them before she leaves, and he gives her like an envelope. And then
Mm-hmm.
on the drive to our apartment, she calls him on and he tells her like they're doing dinner at that restaurant she missed out on, Cloverleaf, with
Oh
Linux.
yeah.
He got them in, and I think there was one other surprise. I don't know what the other surprise was, but she had looked in the envelope for what Uncle Al told her, and he was like, she told him like, I just got a present from Uncle Al, and he's like, what is it? A yacht. Uncle Al finally gives her that, but also like, let me know to go back a little bit. Like her parents, like I they thought like she lied that she didn't have a boyfriend because of like she
Yeah.
lied she didn't have a boyfriend because of all the pressure that was in, and she was like, we heard from your cousin, like we feel terrible that we put you in such a place that you actually had a boyfriend, but you lied to us that you didn't have a boyfriend, maybe like not wanting to bring us around him. And then her
Yeah.
reaction to like literally it just happened. He just showed up because they were like we
Yeah.
we went to meet him and all that stuff, but I just love that the family like got on the same page with what was going on with her.
Yeah. It was that was like the sweetest part. It was just like one that her family could come to like realize one, like we've been a little shady and putting on like too much like I feel like there's already pressure. Um Turning 30, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm entering like a new phase in my life. And then there's like for me at least, like there was like a certain level of excitement, like, oh my gosh, I'm turning 30, this is exciting. But then to have like all this extra pressure from your family of all people, not just like society, to like get married and have children. Like, sheesh, let the lady live her life.
Exactly. And I think that's what like the pressure there is with just that entering your 30s. They feel like either you're already married or established or heading towards having kids. Like that should already be set
Mm-hmm.
into stone. And I think that's one thing in this book that I like that Danielle Allen highlighted, like pressure a lot of women have when they're in their 30s or
Yeah.
turning, either not even from family, just like society expecting them to have a husband. have children.
Yeah.
We're constantly reminding them, like, you should have started having children by now. And I'm just
Right.
like, how about you step off and let people live? So I like that she
Right.
brought in the, like, she has a job, she's a successful woman, she's in tech, she can take care of herself. And that's the one thing that Uncle Al kept on harping on, as if she didn't have this nice job, as if she wasn't paying her own bills, like she needed a man to also like take care of her and all these other things. And I'm just like, she is thriving. And I'm just like,
I
I
mean, because
don't
like
know what the problem is. Like,
she clearly had a good job. She was living in like a high rise apartment downtown. Is like what like the vibe that it gave, like a downtown like high rise apartment. She threw herself this like extra lavish birthday party in a lake house, like, and it seemed really fancy. It was like nice and catered, and like,
she's in
sir, like this lady is doing well for herself.
coats and all that
Like,
stuff. Like, she's paid well.
right,
She's
back
fine.
off, dude.
But I hope, like, I think Danielle Allen's next book, which is like Plus Size Player, I
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking I think I'm not quite sure because I haven't read like any synopsis about it. I think it might be Nina, her friend. I'm not
Yeah,
sure, but I
yeah,
hope we do get a glimpse of Aaliyah because I just want to know if she's still with Ahmad or whatever's going on.
yeah. They've got to be together. They have to.
So, so I just like I just want to know what's going on in that book. But it was such a good read. I know, like, we didn't read it in the summer when it came out. It was like our full book
Yeah.
club pick, but it ended up being such like a cute little read. And
I know.
now we have to go look at all of Danielle Allen's catalog.
I know. I really enjoyed it. I was like, this was super cute, and
And I'm
she's got
looking,
a new fan.
yeah, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. I listened to the audiobook. I didn't even like school was like crazy during this time, and so I didn't have time to actually like physically like hold my book, but I enjoyed it. It was good.
Still reading, audiobook, still reading. I like,
Yep.
do you know I knew like this book was so good? It's because I stayed up late and I was like, okay, one more chapter, but then something happened and I'm like, okay, we're gonna read a little bit more just till we get to a point. But then I'm like thinking about it, so I literally one night had to stay up till 3 a.m. to finish the book because I'm like, I'm just gonna keep on telling myself one more chapter, one more chapter, one more chapter. So we just finished it and called it a night, and I was like, I just it left me wanting more.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
just
definitely was like, oh my gosh, feeling like you did, like wanting some more of their story, like their actual like romance. Like now they're in this relationship or
together
like
right
about
at the
to.
end. You like
Mm-hmm.
you like want so much more, but girl,
Yeah.
yeah, we're still gonna put it up. We have talked for a while now,
Yeah.
but I hope you all enjoyed us chit chatting about Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. If you have not read this book, we highly recommend you go pick it up and have a nice read, even like a buddy read with your friends. But as always, we want to know if you've read this book, how you felt about it. So let us know in the comments. If you've read this book or any of our books, or if you have any recommendations for us. Love
Yeah.
book
Put your
recs all the time.
recommendations in the. Yeah. Or if you like want us to like cover a book in a future episode, let us know in the comments.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.